Welcome to the deck that came out in the same set as another deck that was not supposed to be the highlight of the set, that is from the same clan that somehow is considered to be way below and much more subpar than its Legion predecessor. If you're confused about what I'm saying is, we're going to be playing Blademaster today, and it is looking to be nowhere near as strong as the Cross, but because it has Retire built into it as, you know, its foundational gimmick, the Japanese side thinks it's pretty good. The Japanese side actually puts this as one of the tier 1 decks in this meta, whereas the Western side puts this as tier 5. Welcome guys, today we're going to be taking a look at Mr. Blademaster. So of course, Blademaster, if you play the TCG, he probably ruined your life in Premium very recently, and now he no longer can. In V, he's been a pretty good deck, pretty decent. And of course in G, he will get much better. He will only get better with time. Because of course in the future we'll get like Ziegenberg, we'll get the like Soen, I think. Was Soen the V1 or was that the one that came out in G? I can't remember exactly, but he's gonna get a new form, he's gonna get a restanding stride, it's gonna be so many good things. But for the time being, let's take a look at what a Blademaster deck can look like. And so here we are. Of course, don't be too surprised, I really like the G effect crits. I know some people are like, oh, don't play them, but luckily for Kagero, most of our good strides don't need on hits, but yes, we do have a lot of GRs in this list. But let's start with the main grade 3, which of course is Dragonic Blademaster. He has a pretty good GB2 skill. During your turn, if you have more Rearguards than your opponent, he gains plus 5k in a crit. So that's pretty good. Of course, all of our Retire is quite reliant on striding, so usually this won't really come in handy. You have to play like Berserk Dragon and stuff for that, which some lists do. And then when you stride over him, you can count +1 to retire an opponent's Rearguard. So front row, back row doesn't really matter, which is nice. He pops Intercepts as well, and when he's placed on Vanguard Circle, gains plus 3k power for that turn. So of course I play the Blademaster crit that puts itself into the soul when your Vanguard with Blademaster in its name with this grade 3 or higher attacks, and then you draw 1 and give your Vanguard plus 5k, and when you check it as a damage trigger, you get a draw out of it, which is also quite good. I just like pushing early damage with this deck, to be honest. That's literally it. And then of course the Heal Guardians are an amazing new addition, and I think this is the third deck in fight where I explain them, so I'm going to stop doing that. But they're basically 15k shields in your hand. Our main first stride is actually the Mustafa, which is also GR, which you do need at least 2 copies of, unfortunately, because he says once per turn count +1 and flip any G unit face up, and then you choose an opponent's Rearguard and retire it. But then for that turn, for every face up Mustafa in your G zone, choose one of your units and give it the following ability. When this unit's attack hits a Vanguard, you countercharge 1. So basically on first stride, you want to go into Mustafa and flip another Mustafa up, so you can pop an Intercept and give something the, like, one of your Rearguards that countercharge skill to refund the cost of Mustafa immediately. Like, you can technically flip anything, you can technically flip like the triple rare strides and stuff too, but you won't get the countercharge skill in that case, so please be wary of that. Triple rare stride is honestly one of the worst ones. He is Mahmoud, and he says, when his attack hits a Vanguard, retire an opponent's Rearguard. So this means that you have to get past their Intercepts first, which you usually need to use the stride skill for in order to get through. So sadly this will only like target your opponent's back row or like a grade 3 or grade 1 that they leave up in the front row. So he's not that great, but of course we have Root Flare, which I would recommend to pick up at least 2 copies if you can. If you have 4, it's great. It's like a free like column retire. GB2 once per turn, G Persona Blast, choose an opponent's Rearguard and retire all Rearguards in the same column as that unit. So that's very good. Free column retire. Free retire 2 is always going to be nice. He also gets around resist because you can target the booster behind the resist and then he burns the whole column like that. Doesn't counter the cannot be retired effects though, which is pretty important. But yeah, this stride is really good, and it stays as a 4 for quite a while, to be honest. Like, we got Mustafa in set 2 in G, I remember, or set 3 even, I think, set 3. So do keep that in mind, that like this card, like you can pick up just 2 and you'll be fine. Especially if you're playing the Cross, you don't need to worry about strides at all. But for Blademaster in particular, he's very stride reliant. My one of that I play is the Great, just because he's still a good Legion, and I do play 4 copies of Neoflame. Neoflame, of course, on place gives himself the skill for the turn. When a unit in the same column, when a Rearguard on your opponent's side of the field is retired in the same column as him, you can count +1 and pop the thing behind it too. So I quite like that, just because he lets you like get 2 for 1 essentially, and like take out annoying boosters and stuff like that. I play 2 Velocities just for that early game retire, because we don't play Striken. He's a pretty good ride target as well to refund Conroe immediately, which of course is going to be the starter in Kagero forever. And then we play this guy, which is the Tannaz. So GB1, when your opponent's Rearguard is retired by your card effect, for that turn he gains plus 5k power, which isn't once per turn. So if you have him on the board, like let's say in the back row, and then you stride over Blademaster, you retire 1 from the Blademaster's effect, and then if you have something like Root Flare, you pop 2, so he gets plus 15, just like that, which is very nice. It is on GB1 though, so do be careful with your timings. And then I play 3 of the 12k attacker when you're at GB1, just to have a good like attacker without having to commit boosters, and also like you can boost him with the crit to make 16, which is also nice to get over the magic numbers. And then of course we play 4 of of the Strike Fighters slash Blademaster searchers, you know, as with every deck, and 4 of the countercharging PGs as well, which are very, very important in this deck. I played 2 of the Grom on play Soul Blast 2, countercharge 2. This card is way more important in the Cross than it is in Blademaster, but I think it's still a good card because we don't really use the Soul for anything else in this deck, so might as well, right? And then finally I played 3 of the Gyokuryu. So he does not have GB1, but he's a great one that says when your opponent's triggers is high by your card effect, gain 5k. He's not GB1, so this will even work before you stride, like even on turn 1 and 2, which is pretty good. So that's basically the deck. We play 5 draw 4 crits because I like the effect crits. And so with that, let's just get into it, play a couple games. I don't want to take up too much time explaining this deck itself. And so I think the deck is pretty decent just because it does retire, but of course that's also its weakness, that everything relies on you retiring. So if your opponent has like double resist on your first strike turn, you're gonna struggle because then you can't actually touch them and you have to like deal with retiring the back row. It's still, and also the fact that like your G zone can just be used by the cross, like once you're out of like your legions and stuff, you can just basically like go into, you know, you can just go into your strides after you're done with all your legion shenanigans and like your opponent at 5. So it just feels like the lesser great in all ways. And then also Royal Paladin, if you don't kill them before they get to their second stride, they can use their Saint Blow to actually set up anti-retire effects too, which is pretty nasty. So Blademaster does have a few struggles, I'll just say, because it lacks a restanding Vanguard. So here my mulligan was basically just keeping the grade 2 and the grade 1 and an extra copy of Lava Flow so that I can actually search the Blademaster if necessary. So we might have to ride the power up grade 1 here just to keep this in hand so we can both stride and also search out Blademaster, which is pretty important. And we're going second, which is also very good because we'll get first stride like that, so it'll take a bit longer for our opponent to set up those anti-retire strats, so we can kind of like bully their rears a little bit while we still can. So let's see how this match is going to go. All right, so he runs the Soul Blast 2 guy that lets you draw a card that I also run as like a one of, so it's pretty good. Lulu Anima, let's have a good one. All right, so looking at this though, yeah, we're gonna need to search out the Blademaster. Neoflame is good because he can like give you early game retires as well. We get some nice grade 2s finally, which is nice as well. We're gonna ride this guy. We can actually call the Conroe to the back row on the left, and so we don't need to boost with it. So I like to just put it to the rear just in case I need to use it as a booster, but usually for Conroe you don't need to do that. So next turn we'll search a PG. Don't have Bellicosity in hand to refund the search cost for Conroe, which is a little bit unfortunate, but it's not the end of the world. So let's see, goes into the Knight of Fragment. I'm assuming he's gonna just smack. Yeah. Most times they just smack. He gets a crit too, which is pretty good. He seems to run a Seeker hybrid, so we see a lot of like Seeker hybrids, Jewel Knight hybrids, like all kinds of hybrids running around for, you know, just for Royals actually. So in terms of ride targets, I feel like we can go for Neoflame because I'd like to keep the 12k attacker for later. Don't really want to use him right now. And then essentially you can just use this to search for Conroe. Sorry, not for Conroe, for PG. You can also search for Stride Fighter if you ever need to. That's also pretty cool because the Stride Fighter can search you the can basically just find you your Blademaster, which is also cool. We'll discard the Grom. We're not going to really need it for quite a while. Like the countercharge is nice, but you get like inherent countercharge. I have one non-SP copy in the deck and it always finds a non-SP copy. Like I don't know what they prioritize in this algorithm, but somehow I never get the SP copy of my Blademaster, which is a shame because I have 3 of them. And the moment the tower event is done and I don't need to care about the boost anymore, I'm definitely going to melt those SPs. But it's like, come on, man. All right, he goes into his little Mr. Altmile here. So he's going first, so he's gonna just bash, not even going for the early rush, which means I also don't get to retire anything, which is a bit of a shame, so I can just like go into Mahmoud and pass. And he crits me too. There's another SP Blademaster gone. Kind of unfortunate that he's sacking so hard, but I have 3 PG, so I should be okay. Alright, bright animation. Alright, so there you have it. I'm thinking... I feel like I just want to go for Mahmoud here, to be honest. It's a shame I don't have any other Strike Fighters in hand, but we can hopefully build up towards that, and we should be okay. We should be okay. So just try to push some good damage here. So normally you would go for like the Mustafa, as I said, but here Mahmoud is absolutely fine. We can retire that. It cannot be retired by effect, so we're gonna just basically like bash a little bit here. Nothing too fancy. I think we can just call down the 12k attacker and the this guy, the Neoflame here. And then maybe call this for next turn so we can get the maximum amount of power from him later on. I think that sounds pretty good to me. If we sack a crit, we also just straight out win, which is also very excellent. Very excellent. Alright, so this will be a 17, I think? 18, sorry, 18. Sorry, against 3k. He gets a defensive crit, but does not draw from it because it's a grade 3 crit, not a grade 0 crit. Do we find a crit on offense? We get a draw. That's pretty good. It's a Bellicosity as well, which is definitely quite nice. And the crit. So he has to PG this or he dies. Let's see if that just closes it out. Heal Guardian will take care of it. That is fine and dandy for me too. That's absolutely fine. No issues whatsoever. So we'll go back to his turn. He gets his first strike turn now finally, which is, you know, great news for him. So how will we proceed? Normally you go for Gabblade here, but I'm already at 4 damage because he's been critting me left and right. So maybe he wants to go for like a Samuel and like clear my rears, push me to 5 with a Samuel, and then like, you know, try to win, I guess, from hitting, which he won't. So what does he go for? Samuel or Gabblade? Oh, neither. Looks like he doesn't have them. So it's gonna be the Cray Elemental. He can still push a fair bit by just using Twin Sword. So what you would do here is basically swing the Vanguard into a rear, then rear into rear, Twin Sword into Vanguard to call the 11k attacker, Knight of Fragment, and then that basically finds you... Oh yeah, there you go, he has Twin Sword. So this will let him actually confirm lethal if he wants to, which is pretty strong in my opinion. Like, I think that's pretty good play. So now it's just a question of like, how does he connect into that? And does he see the lines himself too? Because it's very important to do that, so... I'm assuming he'll use the Milius here to probably call out like a Tech Goal, or call out a Knight of Fragment or something, or like a Blaster Blade Seeker would also be very strong here, because then you can pop my intercept and actually try to swing lethal twice to face. So Blaster Blade Seeker would be very strong for my opponent here. It's just a question of whether he has it. No, it's gonna be Knight of Fragment. I wonder if people are just not catching on to the fact that Blaster Blade Seeker is really good in All-Mal. I wonder. Alright, that's gonna be a crit. Oh, that's not it. Okay, he didn't see the lines. Like, you should have swung Vanguard into rear, Fragment unboosted into rear, Knight of Twin Sword into face, then to call another Knight of Fragment over the current one, and then with that, you actually get to confirm lethal, whereas here you have to sack a crit to confirm lethal, which he doesn't, so I'm just gonna go to 5. Missed opportunity by our opponent, but what can you do? We also heal out of that, so I guess, you know, it wouldn't have been lethal, but still, you know, I can't help but call out these things when I see them. So, with this, we can go for a nice, strong Root Flare turn, because this will actually burn the entire field, which is very nice. Definitely quite good. So Blademaster will kill the Twin Sword, and then the Root Flare will retire that entire column, while powering up our entire board over here, which is very good. So we can retire this first from the Blademaster skill. So CB1, retire, get the power up on that. Now the question is, where do I want to actually call down this Bellicosity? I feel like I want to call it down... I feel like I want to make just 2 strong Rearguard columns, to be honest, that can like get over defensives and swing with Vanguard first. So let's use Root Flare here. So this will pop the entire column. So our whole board will get powered up, and then we can get over defensive. I think I still have heals in deck, that's why I'm planning around for this play. Yeah, 2 heals in deck, so I want to swing with Vanguard first. I want to swing Vanguard first to proc any heals we have, and as I expected, we still do have heals in deck, so we're going to just power up this column. We get a crit on top of that. Can keep powering up, like this will get PG'd most likely. So here we go. Yep, gets PG'd. He had a Heal Guardian last turn, so I assume there was a PG in there somewhere. So with this, we can try to confirm another lethal. We heal down to 3 as well, which is really huge. And here he has to PG this, or double heal guard. He doesn't have it. Bellicosity comes in swinging with the lethal. Let's see if he heals out of it. Does he? He does not. That was another Knight of Fragment. So could have been a cool combo we could have done last turn, but sadly missed out on it. And with that, we're going to take the first dub. Alright, that was a pretty convincing game. I feel like, you know, that's kind of the thing that people, even when people say stuff like Blademaster is like lower tier and stuff, it's still really strong. Like, you can still climb with it and like feel really good with it. It's just that it will not, like, if you're looking to only invest into one deck in particular, then it's kind of narrowing down those choices for you, I guess. So that's kind of something you should keep in mind. When you're looking at like tier lists and stuff, like most decks in Zero can win just because of how Zero works. And so take that as you will, right? Take that as you will, and, you know, take that knowledge, turn it into something, right? But yeah, I think we're going to do the cross after this, you know, in terms of the deck and fight schedule. I know I've kept you guys waiting and everyone wants to see the cross. Royals are really popular lately. I feel like All-Mal's been popping up everywhere and like people play all kinds of different variants. I'm going second, which means we can stride first, which is pretty good. Again, especially against Royals, it's a very important matchup to have that kind of information on. Kind of want to put back this. I think I will, and just see if we draw into a Strife Fighter later on, or like a different grade 1. Worst case, Conroe Search, like, it's not the end of the world. So we can hold off on the Conroe Search until turn 2 anyway. I mean, we are going to do that anyway, right? Start with Neoflame as a grade 2 again. He really likes me, it seems. I keep wanting to open Bellicosity, but it doesn't show up. We don't really need more than 2 copies of Bellicosity though, whereas Neoflame does a lot of work. That's kind of why some people play like Berserk Dragon and stuff. As you saw, we don't really use that much CB in this deck either. Okay, we draw into Strife Fighter, so that's good. We can ride the Lava Flow. No problems there. All the Conroe here as usual. and then hopefully not run into a 10k base next turn. Let's see if this opponent actually plays the Blaster Blade Seeker. Would be quite cool. It's Sanctuary Guard. Oh, buddy, but the Sanctuary Guard Stride isn't out yet, man. You're a little bit early. Once the Sanctuary Guard Stride is out, then this deck will become meta. Then this deck will destroy everything, but that's a little bit early. A little bit early for Sanctuary Guard to be meta. Just need one more Stride. Honestly, like, we're missing one more Stride. We have Sword Meat, we have Knight of Twin Sword, we have all the other Strides. We just need the Sanctuary Guard Regalier, and then we're there. And then we're there. It's getting close. I guess Sanctuary Guard won't be as strong in 0 though, purely because it's like, you have intercepts. So you'll have to overly rely on Blaster Blade Seeker to, you know, shut down intercepts first, and then you can start doing the high power combos. Alright, let's go Neoflame again. I like to keep this grade 2 in the hand, just because. We can also just call him down here. Yeah, call him down here so that when we first try it, we can actually, like, you know, make use of it. Search out a PG, because we have more than enough Stride Fighters in hand now. So search PG, and then we're just going to swing for 1. No Neoflame, so if he doesn't give me Candlemass for some reason, like if he just passes here, then we're in a little bit of trouble. But from the looks of it, it feels like he's going to rush me. He also has SP Ultmal. That is very beautiful. I'm actually trying to... I'm not sure if I'll manage to get the SP Ultmal from rank rewards this month, but I want to collect one of each of the SPs in terms of like the ranked reward SPs. Ooh, goes for the Alfred Exiv. I wonder how far he wants to rush me down here. Oh, calling multiples. Calling multiples? That just gives me more targets. But I guess rushing isn't a bad idea, though. It's not a bad idea, but he also gives me more CB to, like, use my effects. You know, I got Blademasters for days here, which means my grade 2 is going to be super strong in the back row there. So, it's good that we only give him 1 CB. Can't do as much. And also that he needs to sack something here, which he doesn't, to make that Blaster Blade hit in the first place. So, it feels like a bit of a weird champ moment, but people are trying out all kinds of different techs, you know, in these decks. Alright, 12k attacker is pretty good. Let's ride the Blademaster first. Get the beautiful... The animation's okay. It's not as good as Chrono Jet or All Mile, so I hope the Ash animation is really good. Alright, we can go to Mustafa, our preferred first stride. Like, I wasn't kidding. It is the preferred first stride. Alright, so let's go into it. Very beautiful. Oh, another 12k attacker. Very good, very good. So we can use the Blademaster here to retire this. If we had a Neoflame, we could also pop the Pier, which would be nice, but I'm going to prioritize getting rid of the other stuff here first. So we want to attack with the 12k attacker first to face. So I guess we'll give him the countercharge skill. And then... how big will this get? This will only get to 18, which isn't actually that huge. So this would push it to 22, which gets over defensive, and then 26 should get over that too. That's okay. We give up on healing, which is a little bit of a shame. But at the very least, we have strong attacks, so I guess that's fine. He might also just randomly heal on me somewhere too. Let's give you the countercharge effect, so you can swing in with a 12. Go! 12k, as well as countercharge. Very good. Okay, no countercharges. That's fine. Okay, let's swing with this, even though I am denying my own heals. But if he heals on me here, that would be huge. Alright, and then we swing with the Mustafa. Get the extra power up and draw. We draw into a draw, which is great. Draw into another draw, which activates a draw. Heal whiffs, I expected as much. I think all my heals are still in deck, so that was a bit of a misplay. Yep, okay. I understand. I was trying to be greedy, you know, check a crit into lethal, etc, etc. I know, that was a misplay. Was it like my rearguards? I guess it would have been fine. Would have still hit if I kept the critter on the board, so maybe I should have. But I would have checked one less draw there too, so... a bit of a odd champ moment, but it's okay. This is where things are not troublesome just yet. He needs to still stride Gablade first before he can go into Saint Blow. So we still get a Root Flare turn next. So, it's pretty good. I mean, we're playing against arguably the worst matchup we have. He goes into Gablade. So, next turn will be Root Flare, and we'll see what he does. What is this deck, though? Like, Sanctuary Guard, Alfred Exiv, plus Ultmal? It's a pretty interesting combination of boys. I do find it peculiar, but I wonder what kind of combos he can do. Like, I think the Jewel Knight variant that we played against in the Gear Chronicle deck and fight was very strong. I'm just not sure how I feel about this particular deck. Okay, Tech Goal, Knight of Fragment, double Knight of Fragment. Okay, so he wants to swing into the boosters, and then he's gonna swing into my intercepts, and he's gonna Gablade into a Knight of Twin Sword, and then Knight of Twin Sword will call something else out. So he has to put triggers onto one of the boosters here if he checks any. Okay, heal trigger is good for him. He needs to get a 5k to something. in the back row. So that way he can basically call the Knight of Twin Sword in the Pier column now, because I don't get a defensive, so he can swing with that 16 into face, and then he can make a 24 Knight of Fragment on the other side, which will, if I don't get a defensive, will be very strong. But he has to commit to the CB and to the Spirit Call before I check for a defensive. So it's a pretty dangerous play, but it's very efficient because that's his first lethal swing for this game, and I only have 2 PGs in hand, so that's actually very good for my opponent. No PGs in the drop either. Another tech goal. That's still gonna be 21. That's not too bad. Do I get defensive? I do not, so this will take out my first PG. That's actually very well played by my opponent. That's like one of the simple and clean combos you can do with this deck, which I think is very nice. So yeah, good. Very good stuff. Okay, we get the grade 2 back as well. I guess we just stride into Root Flare and like burn his field. Just not sure what I want to burn more than anything right now. Guess we just got Blademaster. Yeah, we're gonna just go Blademaster. Get rid of Blademaster, now I'm thinking about what else I want here. He's at 4, right? He's at 4, so we can swing 3 times to face. Oh, that's a pretty good pickup too. I'm thinking which column I want to retire. Is it the Sonic Gulls or is it the Pier? I feel like it might be the Sonic Gulls, just to like eliminate that from like being part of the equation right now. I feel like that is what I want to get rid of. But let's just make a really strong column on the side. So we can still swing with 12k attacker first. And I'm going to use this to get rid of both Sonic Gulls, Mr. Root Flare, doing his cool Root 4 combos. Alright, with this, we can swing in here. So this will swing for first damage, see if he gets defensive, he does not. Let's swing with the Vanguard first, just to see what we get. We get a heal trigger, that's good. How big is this other rearguard column right now? It is 26, 34. So his thing puts into 31, so let's get out of heal guard range here first. With this, he has to PG this. Heal guard will not be enough. Damn, I've checked all 4 heals, that's amazing. Alright, with this we can start putting here, so he's forced to PG both, or double heal guard if he doesn't have a PG, right? This also surpasses that. So you might have had a heal guard in hand there, but he would have needed 2 to guard this attack, so with this he needs to rely on a heal trigger to survive, and that won't be the case. So we're going to pick up another win over here. These games have been much faster than I'm used to. You know what? I'll treat you. I'll give you a third one. This has been 2 very fast games, like really quick, so I might as well give you a third Blademaster match so you guys can enjoy. And while recording this deck and fight, I've managed to reach Legend 4, which is nice. I've been really taking it slow with the Legend climbing this season, so Ultmile I like a lot, and his art in the rank reward is really cool, but it's just that I guess it's just been a bit of a slower process for me. It's just been a very busy work week, honestly. Very busy week at work, so like in the first 2 weeks I was really like going hard on Zero because of the G hype, and now the G hype is still there, but my time schedule doesn't really allow me to play as much, so definitely hope I can change that when we go into next set, because Tabas looks really hype. Like I really wanted to play Tabas back then, but it was really expensive. Like Lambros was such a pricey card for just a triple rare back then, but you know, that's how the cookie crumbles. That's how the cookie crumbles. Okay, we're playing at something different too. You get a Gear Chronicle game, which is pretty tricky. It's actually pretty tricky, and we're going first, so you get to see a different side of things, you know. Going second, you definitely have an advantage against a lot of matchups, but here we're going first, and the hand is a little bit tricky. Kind of want to keep the PG, because this has a lot of like grade 0 guard restrict, so I feel like I'm going to need to rely on my PGs this game. Riding Neoflame is also fine. Might have to use Conroe to search Stride Fodder here, which is not too great. But we're going first, which means we get a bit of an aggressive start, so we can maybe see if we can do something with that, but I don't really like going early aggro with Blademaster. It just doesn't really like mesh well with what the deck wants to do. And usually the opponent doesn't really commit much. I'm thinking more so if he does commit early stuff, like an early board on turn 2 or something, we might be able to use Neoflame or something, but I still think I want to ride the Neoflame rather than this. Such an important combo piece for like powering up and stuff. But keep in mind that they can bot deck it, which is pretty annoying. Maybe we do ride it here and just not use the Conroe for now. Just see what we draw into for now. It might be okay because we have the grade 1s. We have the grade 1s. I'm going to ride the new grade 2 and not use the Conroe yet. Drive check a PG, which is fine. We can dig that out of the bottom. Gets a Chronojet in damage, which is okay. It's actually fine. Surprisingly fine. Now just a question of what does he... I mean, he doesn't really do much on turn 2. Gear Chronicle never does. Oh, he runs this guy. The Counterboss 2... oh no, it's the 12k attacker, sorry. Doesn't counterboss anything. Ooh, he runs Amber. So he's going in with some early aggro himself. Which means I Don't get much use out of the Neoflame. He runs great 3 crits. Why is it everyone playing crits these days, man? Ooh, what is this? Damage zone. 2 Stride Fodders. The heal off the top. I don't like that at all. I don't like that at all. Alright, see if we can bounce back somehow. We're definitely up against the wall here. I feel like I have to search Stride Fodder, which I really don't like. I feel like I'm going to draw into it. All my crits are still in deck, which is pretty huge. I think I have to search Stride Fodder. There's 2 in damage, like, I'm scared that I'm not going to find them for next turn. Thing is, the Neoflame is going to die, right? The Neoflame's going to die to being bot decked. Might just lose. Yeah, this game has been off to a rough start. Let's call both of these to set up for next turn. Maybe bait him to bot deck it or something. Oh, if he goes Chronos Command, I'm so screwed too. Feels like I can't win no matter what I choose. We're at the mercy of whatever he has, I guess. Let's just see. Maybe we can heal here or something. That would be fantastic. Get a crit. That's good too. Equalize the damage a little bit. Into a draw. To another crit. Would have rather drawn to a heal than a crit right there, to be honest. That's okay. Still no Stride Fodders in hand, though. Push him to 3, which means he doesn't have Mystery Flare active. But he could go for Chronos Command, which is really annoying. Or he might just Fate Rider. Which is also pretty scary. He goes for Chrono Jet. Sorry, I was just checking my email there. Got an important one that I'll have to respond to afterwards. Dropping the PG. Uh-oh. He's reading that I don't have PGs. Uh-oh. What is he gonna go for? Fate Rider? Oh, it's the Chronos Command. I was red. Yeah. I was setting up for next turn when in reality I could have held those cards. Yeah, I feel like I'm just misplaying here too, which is kind of unfortunate. You guys are seeing the ugly side of Blademaster, which is me. I am the ugly side of Blademaster. So, let's see. He goes for the Amber, which doesn't really do much here. He needs a booster behind it. It's going to be the crit. Using the skill? Wait, what? He needs CB2 for this. Oh, but he's not going to hit. That's why. Oh, we might not be in that much trouble then. We can just PG this one. We just PG this, and I think that's fine. Alright, he gets another crit, because he plays like a bajillion crits. Whiffs a heal too, which is pretty good. One of my PGs goes to damage, which is unfortunate. But luckily, we drew into a PG in our starting hand. So now the clapback begins, I guess. Draw into another Blademaster. I think we still use a Stride Fodder here. A little bit peeved, because I used... You know... I put in a lot of effort to draw into this. So, let's see. Mustafa, we don't use the Blademaster skill here. We actually don't use the Blademaster skill because we want to set up just to use the Mustafa skill. And so this will become 11. With this, it'll become a pretty nice number. Be 15, so barely gets over. Blademaster on his own doesn't really hit for good numbers, so I probably want to keep that in hand. Yeah, I feel like we just confirm 2 attacks and pass on it. I feel like we just do that. Use the Mustafa here, get rid of the Amber. Swing, like put this countercharge skill on the crit. That powers up as well, so we can actually hit the Vanguard now, and this hits for 15. We're going to get the countercharge, and then if we can hit a crit off the top, we can actually swing for lethal. Would like to heal here as well, would be great. Draw into it. Might be okay if he doesn't go for Ragnarok. I mean, of course he's gonna go for Ragnarok, but... Okay, it goes to 5. He goes to 5. Gets a draw as well. We have 3 defensive cards, but if he goes for Ragnarok, they might be used on other things. Luckily, I don't give him anything to bot deck. Outside of my grade 1, I guess, which is fine. So... Let's see here. What does he stride into? He can't Mystery Flare me, because his countercharger doesn't hit anymore. Chronos Command is not the play either. Fate Rider could be, but I'm feeling Ragnarok. If he has access to it, he does not. Lost Stage is not lethal. It also depends on, does he have the Legion Mate that turns off grade 0 guard? The more guard restricts he has, the more chance of me dying. Like, this is a guard restrict, but you have to bot deck something first before guard restricts. So with that, we'll be okay. Okay, so I think we survive if he attacks with the Yeah, if he attacks with the grade 2s first, both of my heals take care of that. And then I'll PG the Vanguard. We survive with a Strike Fodder in hand. We can go into Root Flare, who takes out all of his rear guards outside of the starter, which I'm surprised he still hasn't used. He heals, which is not great, which means I'm at the mercy of my top deck. Gets a crit too, that's fine. Thank God I have a PG. I also countercharge because I have a PG in the drop zone, so that's also good. I think that might be the first time you're seeing the countercharging PGs actually countercharge. So that's not the top deck I was looking for, but it might get better. Don't give up. Don't give up. Don't lose hope. Keep believing. So with this, we get over the resist, which is really cool. That's like the strength of Root Flare. So let me show you the power of Rutofre. Oh, stop drawing triggers! You're so annoying. You're so damn annoying. Jesus Christ. Alright, I guess we're gonna try to convert this crit into like a PG or something. Look at all these grade 2s in my deck. I'm not seeing any of them. That is very upsetting. So I have to... Do I have crits left in deck? 1. Surely we'll find it off the top. This is rough no matter how you spin it. So let's use the Root Flare here to retire this column. So it actually does take care of both. But just not having a grade 1 or a grade 2 to make this attack hit really hurts. Because making a 9k that then needs 2 triggers on it, it just sucks too. So we're just gonna swing. We're just gonna swing and pray for heals and... Oh my god, stop drawing. Okay, PG, PG, PG. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, please. Draw into PG. Into a crit. That's not what I wanted. Alright. Unfortunately, I think we just died to my bad decisions in the early game. Like, it didn't hurt me as much because he only bought like one of the grade 1s. And I guess it worked out in a sense after that because... Now, I still could have called it later because I just retired with Mustafa that turn. Okay, he's gonna GB2 me. So this doesn't let you guard with Sentinels. Wait. I survive. I survive. I can double heal guard. I can double heal guard this if I need to. Just 1 is enough. We somehow are still alive. I don't know how. I literally cannot tell you how we are alive, but we are somehow alive. We don't stride. This is... How do I make the most efficient attacks? I can make like a 10k. I can make like a 10k or something. Do I have any triggers I can pray for? No, I'm literally out of triggers in my deck, I think. I'm literally out of triggers. I should have called this here. Should have called this behind Vanguard. That was my bad. Okay, that's the last trigger we have. We pretend like we have them. We pretend like we have them. Swing with the crit, despite the misplay. So this will get heal guarded too. Oh, that's so annoying. That's so annoying. Yeah, we don't have anything. Yeah, the 5k would have made a difference. Unless he had a PG, in which case it wouldn't. Wow, this game is like full of misplays. Just watch the first 2 games. That was his last heal too, so he might have had a PG to be honest. We've only seen 2 PGs, so he might have actually had 1. Uh-oh. Don't disconnect after that, dude. You're about to win. My opponent's about to win. Alright, he's back. Yeah, he's got this. He's got this. So sadly, not the ultimate win streak that we were hoping for, but pretty good effort, I'd say, this game. Like, we made some misplays, some very big misplays, I think, that we weren't making in the first 2 games. And that goes to show, like, in G, you get punished for your misplays way more. Like, in G, you just get... Like, your misplays will lose you the game, as they should, right? You should lose the game because you misplay. And that's something you're gonna feel a lot in G, right? Of course, we were a little bit unlucky with, like, you know, having to, like, Conroe for a stride fodder, and then, you know, like, this damage zone isn't exactly the best compared to... Also, his isn't the best either. He just had a Chrono Jet in there. So, definitely a bit of a wonky game, but let's see how this goes. Okay, he's gonna Time Leap into a GG, which will let him Soul Blast 2 and draw 1, which is good. He can find attacks. And I mean, he just needs to swing once. Well, no, swing twice. He has to get through my heal guard. But he's almost got this. Almost got this. Ooh, Soul Charge the crit. It'd be funny if he decked out. Only 2 attacks? Damn. We almost somehow survived again. It's just because he keeps attacking with so little. I'm assuming he's holding on to 2 PGs in hand. So we wouldn't have won there even if I put the 5k grade 1 behind Blademaster, because he definitely has 2 PGs in hand. With how, like, careful he's been with calling stuff, his hand is just very defensive. So we're gonna take an L there. Gonna go 2-1 as I bless you guys with a 3rd game, but you get to see Mamoru's losing pose, I guess. Don't get to see that very often. Alright, so with that, you got an extra long deck and fight for Blademaster. So the next couple will be the Cross, that we're going to finish out on the month for, and then early in November we'll do Victor as well, which was the first clan event that we managed to finish without spending a single gem, which is very, very good. So yeah, here's the Blademaster deck, have fun with it. The Cross is definitely going to be better, and actually cheaper, way more budget, because you don't care about strides that much in it, so you can literally just like play with whatever you have. But yeah, so that's Blademaster. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. It is a fun deck that will only get better in the future, so that's something to look forward to for sure when Ziegenberg and stuff comes out. But other than that, that's going to be it for me today. If you like the video, please give it a like. If you like the content, please do subscribe. I also have a second channel where I upload content for other mobile games as well as card games that I play, and also stream on Twitch where I do Zero and other stuff quite often. But anyway, that's going to be it for me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.